world time. Once again, photo finish here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line.
Welcome, race fans, to the Auto Club Speedway for the NMNTS VA Graphix Cup Series Auto Club 200 at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, USA. Brendan, what a race we've got on hand tonight. 100 laps, just like last night's SimSpec Championship Series race in the trucks, but as you can already see on the track, these cars are not going to behave anywhere near the way the trucks did last night. You saw Joseph Andujar push into the wall out of turn 4. And we're going to see a lot more guys get loose, get tight, everywhere in between.
Definitely. I just watched Zach Lindgren get really loose coming off the corner there. Yes, already some struggles for a lot of guys just in qualifying alone, so definitely should be an interesting race we see tonight. Definitely, like you said, polar opposites of the trucks, I think.
Yeah, and just think, you know, next week, as you see Zach Lindgren actually take a header into the turn 4 wall, just think next week we go to Martinsville, where everything's really going to be different because, you know, it's obviously a tiny little paperclip, just like, you know, every good short track should be. But, you know, going to Martinsville Speedway next week is going to be just crazy because that really is a polar opposite, whereas, you know, maybe the trucks and the Cup cars aren't totally polar opposites. It depends on the way you drive them. I will say that much. I don't want to totally contradict you there because it depends on the way you drive them. I heard all week from guys in C6 that they were getting loose, all week from guys that they were getting tight. And it really depends on how you drive them. I think we're going to see a mix of tight and loose tonight, just like in C6, Brennan. So, you know, in a lot of ways, I think a lot of these guys will be experiencing conditions that are polar opposites, at least comparably polar opposites to what they drove last night. And that could just happen from pushing the car too hard in one part of the track and not another. Or it could just be that, you know, maybe they got a little free. We saw a few guys actually get a little free last night. They might be tight and push into the fence. So I think really it comes down to how they drive the cars. Because I did race races in both vehicles over this past week when the iRacing Official Series were Auto Club. And there's no consistency. It seems like if you drive the truck one way, the car will drive complete opposite, unless you just lay back and save tires. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. We've seen Mark Broderick do it time and time again.
Definitely, Mark Broderick kind of just likes to sit in the back of the field and just work his way forward. I don't think we see him in attendance tonight. I don't see him on our driver's list here, so...
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like the driver of the 32 Tide Ride is going to be with us. Hopefully, he's back next week in Martinsville. I think he's one of the guys to count on when we go there. And quickly, I think this is a good time to bring up the weather here tonight in at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. So Brennan will get those pages on the broadcast now. You can see with the venue information, it is in Fontana, USA, just literally just over by like 1,000th of a mile, over 2 miles long. The track temp is actually a cool 76 degrees, which is pretty nice.
It definitely. The weather really helping the cars kind of grip up. I tested around with a little bit on iRacing defaults where it's a little bit warmer, and they definitely are a lot looser than I think these guys are battling with right now.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a step up from where the iRacing official races put you. It's generally pretty loose and generally, just hard to drive, whereas I think this will be a lot easier for these guys to handle tonight. So we'll see how it works out for everybody, but the ambient temperature is a cool 65 degrees in Southern California, humidity of 55%, and mostly cloudy skies, and it actually produces a really cool landscape in the background. Well, currently, it looks like most of these guys have laid down the extent of their qualifying time, so we'll take a quick look at the current and unofficial qualifying results. This is totally subject to change because any of these guys may not have totally run both of their laps yet, or any number of things. And as I say that, Craig Lerman is going around the track still, so we'll flip through some of these standings. It looks like only about 20 cars in attendance tonight, which is really interesting. Zach Lindgren not going to get a time. And then you see 3 more here who have not set down a time, both of the Janses as well as Joseph Andujar.
Kenneth is out on the track right now. Don't see Kenny though.
We'll go on board with the driver of the 72 then, as he comes out of turn 2. And we'll get to see exactly how these guys drive this place. Down each of the straightaways, you're going to want to pack up right next to the wall before you get to the corner, just like Ken does, and it's all really up to the driver from here. Every corner, you can go high, you can go low, you can drive it in, you can back it up. It's a really versatile track with how wide and how flat it is. It really opens up every inch of this place.
It definitely, I think you and I kind of are in agreement still on how we think we'd like to take the corners personally. Obviously, we're just kind of the broadcasters here, but we both tested around with it, and I really prefer the high line. Help you save tire a little bit, and I just like the way it drives up there personally instead of trying to drive it way down to the white line there.
Yeah, and I actually ran the NASCAR iRacing Series race here over the weekend. It was Saturday morning, and that's something that all members C-Class and up on Oval can run, as long as they have the NASCAR Cup colors and whatever track they may be at that week. But I took the liberty of running all 100 laps, at least what I could. I think I was 2 laps down at the end of it because of a pit issue. Nothing of my own doing, but I was running that thing on the bottom of the track all race long, and then I decided, you know what, in a test session earlier when I was making sure all of the cameras were good for tonight, let's try that top side. And even with it a bunch hotter, it was a lot better in my opinion, because I kept coming out of the corners, and yeah, you're still a little bit loose, but you can drive to adjust that. What I was having issues with was when the car would swing from tight to loose, literally from one end of the track to the other. Craig Lerman still on the Speedway. I think has run more than 2 laps at this point. I think he's just running extra practice laps right now, and that's totally a great thing to see these guys utilizing, because their first 2 laps will count, period. But being that this is a simulator and the track is open, even after they run their 2 laps, they can get some practice in here. I think this is a really good thing for these guys to be doing, utilizing the rest of qualifying, just getting some laps down on the track and getting used to it.
Yeah, definitely, and it'll give you not really a great example of how the tires get worn down, but it'll give you another opportunity here to, as the tire starts to fade away just a little bit. Obviously, you got about 10 minutes to put down some qualifying times here, so it gets you a little bit of a stint going through.
Yeah, it just gives you a chance to see what the track is going to do throughout a run, pretty much. You can go out there and run 10 to 15 laps in this time that you're given, and at some tracks that's more, some tracks it's less. So, yeah, I think it's just cool to see these guys utilizing all their time.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Brennan, we're going to take one small commercial break before we get the pole sitter, and we'll finally get to see just how to say his name. So that's kind of convenient, but we'll get the number 17 of Anthony Colantuono. I'm sorry, I know. I get it right once, because I was even told by one of his teammates. I got it right once last night, and then I went right back to saying it wrong. So we'll see exactly how to say his name in a few moments, but for now, we're going to go to a short commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Auto Club Speedway. We do have your pole sitter on hand tonight, so we'll get him in here finally. Anthony, do you have a copy?
I do.
Well, Anthony, it's a great chance to finally get to talk to you. First base I want to cover is just how exactly should we be pronouncing your name?
It's Colin Tuono.
10-4, Colantuono. Is that right? Got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
So Colantuono?
Yep, that's right.
Awesome. Well, anyways, good to finally get to talk to you up here in the Pit Stop TV booth. And you're the pole winner here tonight at Auto Club Speedway. How's that feel?
Feels great. I was actually surprised to get the pole.
Yeah, normally you might have one of those hot lap guys that just can run fast no matter what, like Spence or whoever else throughout the field. And I think Tyler Justice was most notorious for that. Unfortunately, he's not here tonight. But a great lap from you in that number 17. How did it feel? Does it boost your confidence at all going into the 100 lap race here tonight?
It does. I know this track is going to be really tricky once to wear as the runs go on. But should be good. The last couple of weeks been real booster for me by running up front, just not having the finishes that we wanted.
Yeah, we noticed at the end of the race at Phoenix last week in the BA Graphix Cup Series, you did have some unfortunate events there with the 22 car, and I believe last night you got into a bit of a mix-up with Joe Burchett earlier on, but, I mean, still really good runs from you, showing that you have a lot of speed. What's the goal for tonight?
Just to finish in the top 10. Hopefully win it, but rather be in the top 10.
Sounds good, man. I'll turn you over to Brennan and see if he has any questions, comments, anything like that.
Just saying good luck tonight, bud. Hopefully we can see some more from you. Probably come stage one here, maybe another interview with you as the stage one winner.
Hopefully. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Before we let you loose, don't go just yet. Just want to see if you have any sponsors that you want to shout out before we get this race going.
I want to thank A&W Root Beer for coming on this week. I know next couple races we're going to have different sponsors, but for the last 2 weeks it's been A&W Root Beer, and just want to thank them.
Sounds good. We'll let you go down to the track then, get ready, and get in your car, and best of luck to you.
Thanks, guys.
And again, that was Anthony Colantuono from the number 17 from the Prodigy Racing Association. So good on him to go out there, get this big pole, and I think this kind of sets the tone for him the rest of the season, that he's got kind of a benchmark to kind of perform at. You don't want to I guess, put too much pressure on a driver when they're new, but when you go out there and put yourself on the pole so quickly, it kind of forces it on you.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one that I think he's really showed. Even last night, he was running up front in the trucks. He definitely is one that I feel like he feels pretty comfortable up there. Obviously, that's kind of the spot you want to be, I think, for a lot of guys. For Aldo, I mean, his performance so far, obviously, he got a little bit of a mix-up last night, but that first stage or so, right in there, he was up front, and he was really battling it out really well. So hopefully we can see a repeat of that tonight from him.
Yeah, hopefully we do see him, hold up at the front and kind of give these guys a run for their money. Obviously, he's the fastest so far tonight, so maybe it'll be the rest of the field giving him a run for his money, but hopefully he can challenge guys like Spence Thompson, Bradley Wilson, and others, Spence Thompson being one of the former champions of the NMNTS Racing Series. So we'll see how he does tonight. We'll give these guys a few more minutes before we go through the field, but Brennan, who would be your early race pick?
Tonight, I'm gonna have to go. Probably I'd say with Bradley Wilson starting fourth tonight. I feel like he's a good spot here to put himself out front, and he does a pretty good job in these Cup cars as well.
That's certainly a pretty stout pick. I think Bradley's a really good option to go with here at Auto Club. I think the track will actually really suit him pretty well. My pick, though, is going to come from row number 2, but it's not going to be Bradley Wilson. It'll be his teammate, Spence Thompson, in the Toyota Camry, number 89. I think he's got kind of exactly what he needs to go out there and win a second race in the BA Graphix Cup Series in 2018. It's a hard, fast track that is harder to drive than a lot of places like, say, Las Vegas or something like that. So I think this goes right in his wheelhouse. But I'll give you our top 10 as we run down the grid.
Righty, our row 1 tonight will be Anthony Tuono, excuse me, the pole. Outside of him for row number 1 will be Jimmy McKee. Row number 2 will start with Spence Thompson on the inside in third, Bradley Wilson to his outside fourth. Row number 3 tonight will be Jared Washon on the inside in fifth. Sixth place on the outside is going to be Christopher Matthews. Row number 4 will be Cody Spiker. Seventh on the inside with David Heiza to his outside in eighth. Row number 5 will be Craig Lerman to the inside for ninth, and Brandon Parsons to his outside to round out the top 10.
And in row number 6, we'll have Gordon Larson Jr. to the inside in the 11th position, followed by Jerry Glenn to his outside, making his return to the series in the number 98 car. In row number 7, we'll get Trevor Harmon from Fort Mojave, Arizona, Clayton Kurtz from LaSalle, Illinois. And in row number 8, we've got Derek Robinson and Terry Mason, a couple of really good, solid guys that kind of are more of underdogs than anything in this series. And I think they really perform by the end of the race, but sometimes start off a little behind. They certainly get there by the end. In row number 8, we'll have Kenneth Yance, John Barron. More of the same with those guys, actually, as the row ahead of them. And in row number 10, we'll have Matthew McMeekin and Zach Lindgren all the way back in 20th.
Yeah, and then we have a couple guys that didn't get a time down. For 21st will be Joseph Andahar. And then what will be 22nd will be Kenny Yance in the 77.
And that will round out a 22-car field here from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. I must say, this is kind of an interesting point to me. The first big speedway, almost a super speedway, that we've had all season on PSI TV or in this series is Auto Club Speedway. And last night didn't really play into it. The trucks are really even, but with these Cup cars, the noses are so much different. They've been talking about it all season long so far in the real NASCAR Cup Series. You see 2 Fords on the front row. Do you think there's anything to that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of that really carries over to iRacing. Obviously, there's a kind of a debate in the league with last year's kind of aero packages with the Tundra and the Silverado. I don't really have quite as much experience with those. I think you do on the Cup cars, though. So I kind of have to abstain on that one. I don't really know.
I think there's a situation maybe on the plate tracks. I'm not so sure about other smaller tracks, but we're coming to the first green flag of the night, the start of the race. This time out of turn 4, Anthony Colantuono leading the field to the green for the first time in his short NMNTS career. Spence Thompson, a big name right behind him, has to wait on the green flag to fly from iRacing. There it is, green flag is out, and 17 is off and away. A pretty decent start, but being on an even playing field at the start of the race, Jimmy McKee with a pretty good jump as well. He's on the outside of now Spence Thompson, as Spence got a really good start of the race. Jared Wishon, not so much.
Yeah, looking at it from the restart, the 22 Cody Spiker actually gave him a little bit of a nudge to help get him going there. He was a little behind the 92. Christopher Matthews caught the wall a little bit there. Is outside.
And he was not alone. Gordon Larson Jr. also pushed up out of turn number 2, got the fence a little bit. I think both of those guys will carry on, no issue, but certainly not what you want to have happen on lap number 1.
No, definitely not any. You don't want any damage at all, really, and forfeiting a couple spots there by getting into the wall really isn't going to help you out either.
Anthony Colantuono continuing to lead, as a pretty decent lead actually over Spence Thompson as we look back from just underneath the rear bumper. Jimmy McKee holding stout in P number 3. Brennan, what do you see in 4th?
Fourth, we got Cody Spiker. He's pulled away a little bit from Bradley there. He's kind of in between the two, between the front 3 here, and Bradley's starting to reel him in a little bit as Cody's going to push up pretty far up the track there. I think he's getting tight coming off. Allow him to get a little bit closer, but the top 3 are really starting to pull away from him now.
Yeah, you can see the gap out front of the Gale Toyota number 22 to the 8 car. Menard's on the hood this week, and it's growing. I think Jimmy McKee, Spence Thompson, Anthony Colantuono, those guys are pretty much in tune with each other. They qualified top 3, and they're pulling away so far, solidifying why they should be first, second, third. Bradley Wilson, though, not too far behind Cody Spiker. I think Cody Spiker has one of the better cars as well.
Cody again getting tight. He uses all of that track to come up there, almost catching the wall again, coming off the turn 4. We saw that last lap as well.
Further back, one of the stories that I want to carry throughout the night is Zach Lindgren, starting from the 20th position, the next to last row on the outside, and so far has moved up a few positions into 17th. I think this is a guy that we have to watch, just like when Mark Broderick races, and he starts from the back of the field, he comes through the field. This is a guy to watch.
Definitely, he's definitely got what it takes, I think, to be out front here. Going to be a battle of working through the field. I don't quite. I mean, the strategy, it works for Mark, so I had to see what Zach can do with it. I think Zach's probably going to be able to do a lot with it as well.
Well, I don't think Zach really wanted to start from way back there, at least not after last night's run where we had a couple of early cautions that caught up some of the better trucks in the race that had elected to start from the back. I think Zach just kind of was the victim of circumstances. We saw him really loose, really tight even in qualifying, and eventually ended up taking a header into the turn 4 wall.
Ahead, the 42 of Brandon Parsons into the back of the 75 a little bit there. No harm, no foul on that one, though. They're both going to keep going.
And we'll watch this battle from one of Terry Mason's affiliates back there. That's Clayton Kurtz in the number 90 discount shop towels machine. Matthew McMeekin almost came up on Clayton's left front. No contact, though. They'll carry on.
Zach Lindgren's going to squeeze on by there. And Ken Yant's right behind him now.
The 90 car may be headed in the wrong direction right now, not liking how the track is. Might have to wait on more rubber to get laid down. That's one thing that we'll have to watch for, because when I ran that NIS race earlier in the week, I did notice that once you got rubber down on this racetrack, everything changed. Everything about it changed, and different parts of the track opened up to be run on. So I think as more rubber gets put down on this track, some of these cars that are slow right now or maybe in the wrong direction might come back and run towards the front.
Definitely, and with the stages, I didn't quite catch the stages tonight. 100 laps again, so I think usually the Cup races we run short first 2 stages and then a long final one. So I don't really think tires or anything like that will be really something that they play around with strategy too much with for the first 2 stages. I think they'll just try and run out and get whatever position they can. But then I don't think maybe the last stage we'll see a little bit of strategy in play, maybe.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine these stages will probably be about 30 laps each at the start, then maybe 40 to end it, or 20, 20, and then 60 to end the race. It'll be something like that, I would guess, just based on past races. But as we move forward to Brandon Parsons, who you mentioned not too long ago, he's currently running in the 13th position, got by Gordon Larson Jr., who has actually now fallen all the way back to the 14 of Nick Meekin. Nick Meekin in the Navy Chevrolet trying to work by him.
Pinned down by the white line, and get by him just fine there. Gordon electing to kind of run the higher line like we thought was going to be a little bit better off. Not really paying off for him too much right now, though.
Well, I see Zach kind of experimenting with that higher line a little bit. Quite not all the way towards the wall like I was practicing with, but I think as the race goes on and as the tires go away, the top line might come in a bit more. You know, once you get rubber down there, I think it'll open that line up at least for a small amount of time and really give you the chance to go up there and, as we say, run the Larson line. So we'll have to see what happens. I could be totally wrong in how the track is going to change, but I would expect that top line to come in a little bit later in the race.
Yeah, I think I will as well here, especially probably that last stage or so. I definitely think we'll see a lot more people up top.
Trevor Harmon with a big attempted move on the 51 of Jared Rashawn, tried to get to his back bumper and maybe try to get to the inside or get a run on the outside. Couldn't make it happen. He actually fell quite a few car lengths behind the 51 out of turn number 2. Trevor Harmon could also be headed in the wrong direction here.
Yeah, a couple guys just bobbling up a little bit, and it's really starting to hammer down on them here. Just a couple mistakes or so, and you lose a position or two fairly easily. So everybody's, I think, just has to get settled in here. We just finished lap 10 there. Everybody's starting to really get settled in, I'd say, by now. But Trevor Harmon's still experimenting a little bit on the racetrack here. He ran a little bit higher up that time than he had been.
And I noticed a little bit to the right of the frame, we saw Jerry Glenn go all the way to the top side. He lost a couple of positions out of turn number 2. Terry Mason got by him, now Brandon Parsons. And Brandon Parsons working the bottom side, trying to get an advantage on the 75. Can't do it just yet. Back up to the front, Anthony Colantuono still leading this race. One thing that I'm liking, though, is we haven't seen, you know, the leader, Colantuono, just walk away from anybody. He has a decent lead over Spence Thompson, but it's certainly not gaping or anything like the gap from 3rd to 4th.
Yeah, the leader's definitely in check, and then I'd say 3rd through 5th are really like too far off, but or not. Excuse me, not 3rd through 5th, 4th through 6 are really like too far away from each other, but you know, everyone's kind of in check. Nobody, like you said, is really starting to walk away with it, but definitely some people starting to spread out.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed a little bit in the Monster Energy Cup Series race over the weekend was at one point in the race there were a few guys on top of each other, just like we're seeing here, battling for the lead, throwing sliders. I think 2 of the notables were Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch. So hopefully, with, you know, what is supposed to be the same package, or at least something comparable to what they run every Sunday afternoon, maybe we can see some of that kind of racing where these guys are, you know, throwing big moves on each other, trying to get positions.
Yep, and I think, you know, beginning of the tire life as we is going to be the best opportunity for that. I feel like once it really starts to wear out, we might get a little bit of the kind of the mile-and-a-half action here, where there's one really good line and everywhere else is kind of struggling a little bit. It'll maybe be a little bit harder to pass, but I think the beginning of the tire life is probably your best opportunity to make some big passes.
Yeah, and that's normally the kind of the MO of any NASCAR car or any racing car in general when you think about it. Sometimes, you know, cars will go through changes, tracks will go through changes. You can do things at the end of a run, but normally, fresh tires are the time to do it. Trevor Harmon around in the back. He's going to hang on to the car somehow and get back rolling. We're going to get a quick replay on this. I just noticed going down the back straightaway, there was a car around, and I recognized it to be the 27.
Yeah, and I do believe that happened to him last night as well, and unfortunately, no caution. Then actually a car through the grass up ahead of him. The grass, I believe that is... not who I thought it was. Put a number on that for us. I think that was the 42 of Brandon Parsons. Yeah, it was the 42 of Brandon Parsons. Took a trip through the infield grass there.
So on the same replay, we'll watch the 42 now. I noticed the 27 of Trevor Harmon out of turn number 2 kind of did the same thing that I watched happen and had happened to myself, and then you see the same thing happened to Parsons out of 4. A little bit different point on the racetrack, but out of turn number 2, if you're on the bottom side of the track, there's a lot of bumps down there, and that really unsettles the race car, especially further into a run when you're trying to get something out of the car that just isn't there anymore. I will say a pass for second place just happened. Jimmy McKee got by Spence Thompson, but if you exit turn number 2 on the bottom side, 9 times out of 10 on the long run, you're at least going to get sideways. Jimmy McKee joining Anthony Holantuono back in the top 2 of this race of 22 cars for 100 laps. And you can see these guys are up over 200 miles an hour into turn number 1. This 8 car, he's loose, but the car is swinging in his direction.
He's got it right now. He really can tell he's feeling comfortable. A little bit loose, as you mentioned, coming off the corner. Just back the corner up just a little bit more, maybe for him coming through. Just, you know, battle with the tire where they're loose again for him a little bit. But overall, I think he's definitely happy right now with how the car's feeling for him.
Yeah, anytime a driver is moving forward, they have to at least be happy with their efforts. Whether or not they're happy with the handling of the car, they at least have to be somewhat content with the fact they're passing cars. And you know, he just passed one of the past champions of this series, Spence Thompson, so that has to be big for him. Spence Thompson actually kind of, he seems stable, but he seems like he just doesn't have quite the car that some of the guys ahead of him do. And further back, a battle for 4th place, Bradley Wilson and Cody Spiker.
We saw a gap earlier. That gap is now really withered away for Cody Spiker. Bradley Wilson right behind him pretty much. We have a caution.
And I think this should be for the stage break. Is that correct?
If it was a lap early again. But I do see Kenny Yance is a lap down. I don't see too much there. Trevor Harmon went a lap down as well. There's, I believe, a car on the grass there. Yeah, there was a car spinning through the grass.
Oh, you know what? That might not have been the stage break.
That was the
Matthew
14
McMeekin goes for a spin.
If we are at lap 20, that will be the stage.
Yeah, that is confirmed, actually. Robert Beckner did message me. Those will be the stages, 20 and 40.
Oh, almost a quarter way through this one already. This one's really starting to fly by.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're going to get a replay on this real quick in a moment. But that's exactly right, Brennan. This race going by a lot quicker than I imagined, but when you have less cars on the track, sometimes that happens. Where, these races just go by quickly. McMeekin loose out of 4, comes back up the track, slams the outside wall, actually clips Clayton Kurtz, and the 90 is going to go for a ride as well.
The 90 still being on the racing surface there is probably what brought that caution out. Matthew McMeekin in the grass, as we've seen from the races last night with Trevor Harmon, how he kind of took his spin on the backstretch there. I don't think that would have brought the caution out there.
Going back to watch what happened. I actually went to the wrong driver. Let me try and get the replay. I missed it, so we'll just go back and switch to the 90 car. Sorry about that. But we'll show the replay now of Clayton Kurtz's spin, as he was tagged by a spinning number 14 car. Out of turn 4, this is about as good of a look as you're going to get. Clayton Kearse just gets tagged in the right rear, spins around, and caution comes out. He got it going pretty quickly, but that's going to be a lot of aero-sensitive damage on the right rear of the car. We'll actually follow him into the pit lane and see how he does here. See just how tore up the car is and just how much damage can be fixed on the number 90. Meanwhile, I think it's in accordance to get the number 17 into our interview waiting room. He is our stage winner, Anthony Colantuono. Jimmy McKee coming home in stage number 1 in second place. Spence Thompson in third. As we watch the repairs take place on the number 90 of Clayton Kearse, we'll bring in our stage number 1 winner. And Brennan, I'll let you get him when you're ready.
Well, Anthony, I kind of called it a little bit earlier. Stage 1 winner. Overall, how are we feeling with the car so far?
It's good. It's good. It's just as soon as you start getting long runs, you just get looser and looser, especially coming off exits, off the turns.
Yeah, we definitely have noticed that a lot through the field here. So far so good. I'd have to say for you, still out front. Really started to pull away the top 3 or so. The gap behind you was almost 3 seconds there to 4th place. So Jimmy McKee and Spence Thompson right there with you. How you feeling about your competitors? How you think they're doing?
I know Spence is really good, and it's unfortunate he hit the wall because he was closing up on that gap I had on him. But I know James is pretty good also, and those are the 2 guys I'm worried about right now on the longer runs. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so we have another break here for another 20 laps, and then we'll go to a long stage of 60 laps here. Anything to help with tire management, you think, there, or are you just going to try and push and stay as far ahead as you can?
Just try staying as far ahead as I can. If I notice I got a big gap, I'll try to do some tire management. Clean air really helps out on this track, which is a good thing to be up front.
Definitely. Well, Andrew, you have anything you'd like to add?
Just best of luck, Anthony. We already talked to you once tonight. If you do win stage number 2, no hard feelings. We'll get to talk to somebody else, but a great win in stage number 1. Hopefully you can close it out.
Thank you, guys.
And again, that was your stage number 1 winner, Anthony Colantuono. A great run for the number 17 A&W machine so far. Brennan, I think this kind of puts him on the map as one of the favorites, at least tonight, if he already wasn't, being your pole sitter. But, this also raises into question Michigan International Speedway later in the season, the sister track to Auto Club. And Auto Club was actually designed based on Michigan. So, maybe he will have what it takes to get it done there. So if he does win tonight, you have to wonder exactly what that means for the rest of the season, going to places like Michigan and even Texas and some others where it's a similar kind of driving style that you have to perform with.
Yeah, definitely. Overall, though, liking what we've seen so far from him, he's really started to put on a show, and I definitely think this type of layout, he's definitely going to be one to really watch out for, like you said.
Well, the lights are out on the pace car, and as we've been showing you some of the cameras from the pace car, actually, I think they're really cool to look back at the field from the iRacing Ford Mustang pace car, or safety car, as they call it across the pond. I have to wonder, what this means for the rest of the field moving forward on these big tracks. Obviously, we haven't really seen how these cars do on a small track, aside from Phoenix, and even that wasn't the greatest test, being as loose as it was. But at least for the big tracks, I think this puts the 17 right on the map with Spence Thompson and some others as one of the guys to watch for wins. With that said, though, we will go to a quick crank it up throughout this restart. In a few laps, we'll be right back with commentary, but just enjoy the great scenes from Auto Club Speedway, and they're coming to restart for stage number 2 of the Auto Club 200.
flag, green flag.
Welcome back. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that bit of scenery around the Auto Club Speedway as these guys got up to speed and got to racing. A lot of good battles. We saw a couple of guys get into the fence, most notably the 92 of Christopher Matthews, and now you've got a battle here with Bradley Wilson going to work on David Heisa. Actually, Jerry Glenn now might have a run at Wilson.
Nothing yet. Wilson going to rebound back a little bit, start to pull away from the 98. Work down the front stretch. 85 is going to start to work on the 98 there. Not quite there yet for him. That corner to make a move.
Zach Lindgren's car starting to come alive finally in the second stage of the night. Lap 31 of 100. Lap 11 now of 20 in stage number 2. These stages will go by pretty quickly, and then it's a long haul to the end where we should see at least one green flag pit stop. Should just be one, unless there's some kind of issue with the car. But moving back towards the front, Spence Thompson in second place. What have you seen up in the front here, Brennan?
So far, Spence Thompson back to second. Jimmy McKee down to third. Cody Spiker almost had third for a little bit. He's fallen back a little bit. Spence, though, really are starting to put the pressure on the Colantuono.
Yeah, Colantuono doing a good job, a great job up in first place, but it seems like that 17 is starting to falter, and we did hear from Anthony himself that Spence was gaining on him in stage number 1 until he got the wall, and that's what let McKee by. So that could be, why the only reason why we didn't see the 89 catch and pass the leader of Colantuono. We'll see this time because he is pretty much there.
Yeah, he's a little bit far back from making a move any particular quarter, but he's really starting to just inch by inch work his way up here. Seeing it now just about 2 car lengths, maybe 1.5 back to him now. He's any point he could really just dive it on down underneath him here, try and do a slider per se almost.
Yeah, I think Spence has to get 1 or 2 more good corners to gain on the 17, as we're seeing him do right here. Not quite maybe the run he wanted to get, but with the draft, he'll pull some more down the straightaway. I think he's going to have to get 1 more good corner before he can make any aggressive moves, but he is certainly there, Brennan. That was a good call. That he's definitely gaining slowly, but he's almost in range to make a slide job.
Yeah, we keep seeing the 17's getting a little tight off a exit. Spence not having that issue. That's really where he's making up the ground right now. Just perfect for him to set up for the next corner.
Yeah, like I said before the race, I think this race is going to play right into Spence's wheelhouse and just really give him a chance to shine. We saw a similar situation at Atlanta in race number 2 of this series. It was the first one broadcasted on Pit Stop TV of the actual points races, but I think this plays right into his wheelhouse again. We saw him get the win at Atlanta. He wasn't really the dominant driver, but he came from behind when it mattered, and here he comes. He got a run through turns 1 and 2. He's almost there.
Yeah, I still keep saying almost there. He's close. Just a little bit of bobble between the two of them. 17 had a really good corner there, kind of preventing him from really working the ground. 17 tight again, though. Spence, like I said, not really having that issue. He starts to make up just a little bit of ground here. Actually lost a little bit there, I think, out of 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think Spence's strong part of the racetrack might be out of turns 1 and 2, whereas Colantuono might be a little better out of 3 and 4, and I think you'll see it here where the 89 kind of just gets a run out of turn 2, kind of makes some of that gap back up, and then Colantuono holds pretty decently through 3 and 4, and Spence just can't get there to make a move. So it's, this is a hard track to pass at because the draft is so important here, and if you put that nose in the clean air, it's going to be more air slowing you down, more air that you have to fight through. So, of course, the optimal line to catch up to somebody is right in their tire tracks until you get too close to where you just have no downforce on the nose. But, of course, if you pull out too much, you might slow yourself down.
Yeah. A little bobble there, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the same principles are at work here in this race at Auto Club as you would see in one of the Truck Series races, like we saw last night, where you had to be careful about what you did with the air, and now Spence Thompson going to have to back off. Looked like he just couldn't get there and was maybe soaking up too much of the dirty air from the 17. Couldn't make anything happen, might have actually burned his right side tires off.
Yeah, I heard it audibly coming through 1 and 2 there that he actually had to lift a little bit, I think, just trying to keep from hitting the wall again from the 17 I mentioned earlier about him getting a little bit of contact there earlier, so I think he's really going to play it a lot more careful now.
Well, with about a lap and a half to go until the stage break, everybody let us know in the comments now who you want to talk to at the end of stage number 2, assuming Anthony Colantuono will hang on to the stage number 2 win. I think that 17 car is dialed in, but let us know if anybody's watching out there and wants to talk to a specific driver who you want to talk to. I will check YouTube and Twitch as well.
Really good battle right now between the 18 and the 22. That'll be for 4th and 5th.
Sorry about the Twitch screen being in your way. That was totally my bad. It's gone now, but yeah, I'll check the chats in a moment so you guys can let us know who you want to talk to. Spence Thompson just cannot draw back up to that 17 car, almost within risk of losing that second position to Jimmy McKee, but we have confirmation that the caution will come out this time by the start-finish line. And Anthony Colantuono going to power away to its stage number 2 win. Tim Giles saying he's going to pick Lindgren for the W, as we're actually waiting on the caution. We were told it would come out that time around. We might be waiting on the top 10. It might also just be pushed back to the completion of lap 40, so he hasn't won it just yet. Could still have something happen. Apologies for the miscommunication there, but I was initially told it would be at the completion of lap 39. So it has been moved a lap back, and we should get the caution this time by Spence Thompson. Still can't get to the 17. The 17 across the line to complete lap 40, and the caution flies.
Really good battle. I think kind of got missed. Bradley Wilson were able to work his way past Cody Spiker. They were side by side for a couple laps there. Wilson up to 4th. Stage 1 though is going to go to, or stage 2, excuse me. Well, dropped the ball there. Go to the 17, Anthony Colantuono. Spence Thompson's going to pick up 2nd. 3rd going to Jimmy McKee.
And if we go through your top 10 at the end of stage number 2, we'll also see that Bradley Wilson, like you said, Brennan, got to 4th place. Cody Spiker fell to 5th. Zach Lindgren started 20th. Almost shotgun on the field, up to 6th place by the end of stage number 2. Great run from him. David Heise in 7th. Terry Mason in 8th. Jared Rashawn in 9th. And Jerry Glenn will conclude the group of guys who will get some stage points out of this stage. And we can check a race summary. Just the 2 cautions for the stage breaks. Pretty good race so far, Brennan.
Yeah, really. Mention this thing's kind of really going by really quick. It's can't quite see the stream time we've been, but the race overall is only just about 36 minutes now, so really flying by really quick. So a lot of action though still at the same time, so really good race.
And as pit stops get underway, the one suggestion that we had for an interview was for Jared Wishon, and no surprise, made by Matt Dickerson. So we'll go ahead and get him in the booth here in a moment once he completes his pit stop and pulls away. How about the race off of pit road, Brennan?
Race out, it's going to go to Colantuono, then Jimmy McKee, Spence Thompson, Bradley Wilson, Cody Spiker, Zach Lindgren. That Heisel will beat him out. Terry Mason, Sean, and then Jerry Glenn for the top 10.
And I did just see, sorry Tim for missing your comment at first, but Tim Giles picking Bradley Wilson for the next interview, so we'll get Wishon first. And next caution that we can, we'll go ahead and talk to Bradley Wilson, driver of the 18. But for now, it's Jared Wishon, so we'll get the 51 in here. Jared Wishon, this is Andrew Cardinale in the Pit Stop TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Gotcha.
Well, Jared, kind of a quiet run from you so far tonight. We've seen you up in the top 10 trying to mix it up, but how's that car feeling?
It's not too good on the short runs, but once we get into about 10 or so laps, it really comes in and I can stabilize, but it still ain't too great, but could be worse.
Well, I think the big thing to talk about is the fact that we're going to have a big change in pace here. We just had 2 sprints, 2 20-lap sprints for each of the stages, and your teammate Anthony Colantuono won both of them. And now it's a 60 or about 55-lap haul to the end of the race. What are you expecting for the rest of this race?
I just gotta save tires and hope you have something there at the end of it and see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good call. Just go ahead and, save tires from here, be conservative. We go back to Anthony Colantuono winning both stages so far this race. Do you think you could join him up there in the front by the end of this thing, and do you think he can win it?
Probably not. They're pretty good on the long run. The top 5 or so are, and then I'm able to stay about 9th or so, but I don't believe we have a car to get up there right now.
10-4. Well, I'll turn you over to Brennan before we let you go. Brennan, do you have anything for him?
Just overall, hopefully we can see another top 10 for me here. He's able to squeeze your way in there for the first stage, so hopefully see some more out of you, maybe even gain a couple more positions the last run here.
Hopefully we are able to get a good run in.
Well, Jared, it was Matt Dickerson that went ahead and asked to speak with you, but now we'll turn you over. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to before we get the rest of this race underway?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Plan B Sales for coming on board for the full car of this race, and at Diecast fans and NMNTS for their support also.
Sounds good, man. We'll move you back down. Best of luck to you and your WFO teammates.
Thank you, guys.
And that was Jared Rashawn coming home in stage number 2 in 9th spot, I believe. And we actually might... Okay, no, they're doubling up this time. I was going to say, if we still had one more lap of caution, we could try and talk to Bradley Wilson. But, alas, that is not the case. So, Brendan, we've seen just about half of the race so far tonight. Do you want to make a change to your pick?
I almost want to, but I feel like Bradley can do stuff with the tires here. So we have this long run here coming up ahead that I think he usually tries to strategize pretty well. I think he has a really good shot at it. I do have to agree with your pick, though, as well. Spence Thompson, he's really put himself up there, so I think we'll see what he can do with it as well.
Yeah, I think Spence is one of the guys to watch for no matter where you go, but tonight especially I think falls right into his wheelhouse like I've mentioned a few times tonight. One of the best out there. He has a championship under his belt for a reason. Granted, that was in the Truck Series a couple of years ago. Totally different aero package, totally different machine in general, and of course a totally different slate of tracks as well. But I think this race and some others at tracks like this fall into his wheelhouse, and I think that's why he has been so good tonight. Hasn't even led a lap. It's been all Anthony Colantuono, but I think this is one of his best chances here on this restart to do so.
Yeah.
And speaking of Spence, we'll actually go on board with him as he tries to battle with Jimmy McKee and Anthony Colantuono on this restart, waiting for the green flag. There's the green. The 17 and the 8 pull away at the same time, actually. I saw their noses come up at the same exact time. And the 89 going to have to see what he can do with these guys. He's also got to wonder about the 18 to his outside.
Yeah, really good start from everyone here overall. Spence had a good start. Cody Spiker actually going to nose at Spence. Loose or tight there. I don't know what quite happened there. He lost a couple of positions and under the pace a little bit there, getting back up to speed. Bradley Wilson right behind him. Lindgren and Spiker able to nose their way past him, though.
You know, I think what happened to the 89 of Thompson out of turn 2 was he was starting to track up towards the left rear of Jimmy McKee. Of course, didn't want to turn him because 9 times out of 10, if you turn somebody on a track like this, you'll wreck yourself at the same time. So I think he backed off instinctively and jerked the wheel a little bit instinctively as well, whether he wanted to or not. And I think that's why we saw him bobble out of turn 2 and lose all that time. He is all the way back to 5th place now. Well, the bigger loser, I think, is Bradley Wilson falling to 6th, and he wasn't even a part of it.
Yeah, he just didn't really make a move there. He kind of just sat there, kind of waited to see everything that was going on, just, I think, trying to avoid maybe if caught or an incident was going to come up ahead to try and get around it, while Cody Spiker and Zach Lindgren both seizing the opportunity there to move ahead.
And speaking of Zach Lindgren and Cody Spiker, these two are battling. This would be for 3rd position, 3rd and 4th. Both of these guys side by side running different parts of the racetrack. Zach gets a run through 1 and has the position out of turn 2, but Cody Spiker looking pretty stout as Spence Thompson gets back into a groove.
That's going to get right up to the bumper, move down inside here. Spiker going to run through the middle. Thompson not quite there, almost. Here comes the run from Spiker again, not going to get it this time. I think Spence might get him here coming into turn 1 and 2, though.
And you know, I think Spence was actually clear out of 4, just didn't want to chance anything. It's too early in the race, not even halfway just yet.
Oh, big dive bomb from the 18 there,
yeah,
almost.
Bradley had a run at first end of the corner. Had to check up a little bit because Spiker was a little further down the track than maybe Bradley anticipated and couldn't go anywhere with it. But he is alongside of the 22 now into 3.
It's going to have him cleared for sure that time around through the backstretch. Bradley going to try it now himself. They're going to be door by door. Spiker a little bit loose coming off the corner.
Wilson will have the position there. He moves into the top 5, and a great run so far for the driver of the number 18 Olcan Hancocks and SimSpec PC Towers Toyota Camry. Moving forward, and this is kind of what you expect from Bradley Wilson on the long haul, to kind of sit back, be complacent at first, but then start ticking them off one by one.
Vince now starting to pull away from Wilson. Catch up to the back end of Zach Lundgren up ahead. Actually, lap car coming through here.
Oh, and that's Jared Wishon, who must have missed something. No, sorry. Wishon's 4th. Huh.
Oh, that was my fault then. But he does have some damage to the right front, though.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of right front damage. He must have got the wall a couple of times. But we definitely missed something where he moved forward, and now he's starting to fall back. Just like he mentioned, he's not really good on the short run, and we've only run about 6 laps so far under this run. And he's going to fall back into the clutches of Craig Lerman, it looks like, into turns number 3 and 4. And that 51, Jared Wishon, told us straight up, it's not that good, and we're seeing that.
Yeah, definitely. I like him to stay up on the high side here. Just try and save the tire a little bit, maybe. Help him a little bit. That right front damage is not going to help him very much with turning in.
No, it's going to be tight into the corners, and I think it's going to make it a little bit looser out. I think it's going to give side force to the front, which you don't want, and maybe loosen them up a little bit out of the corners. But further back, something happened to the 92 of Christopher Matthews. I don't know what happened, but he's got a lot of front-end damage.
And before we quite get there, I did hear Robbie key over Robbie's admitting tonight for everybody out there, given the 51 some instructions on his connection there, so I think maybe he just had some connection issues that iRacing may have bugged him through a wall there that added the damage on there to him. But yeah, back to the 92 though, definitely a lot of front end damage for him as well.
I'm trying to find where the damage to the 92 might have happened, and I'm not seeing it. I have an event log of everything that happens to each car, and I don't see anything happening to Christopher Matthews aside from pit stops. This is kind of bizarre. There's nothing on the log to show that he would have hit anything. Because, the kind of damage that he has to that car, you'd think he hit somebody pretty good and would have gotten at least a 2x, if not a 4x. And there's just no record of that anywhere in the event log. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
But Christopher Matthews is currently running in the 12th position. Kenneth Yant's right behind him, trying to make the best of a night where Kenneth has really just been quiet. Hasn't really made any noise yet in that underfunded number 72. And underfunded isn't an insult. That's literally the name of the team. So, yeah, nothing, no hard feelings there. It's not an insult to Ken. It's actually the name of the team. So, that explains that. Further back, Jerry Glenn in 14th. Brandon Parsons, you can see here in the 15th spot after his spill through the grass earlier on. But Brendan, what do you see up in the front of the field?
We just had a move for second there. Zach Lonergan's going to get past Jimmy McKee. They were battling out their last 3 or 4 laps. Zach going to get by this time, though. Back to second. Colantuono, though, starting to pull away again as these guys were battling it out. And Spence behind him, not really able to go forward very much. The gap to him and Bradley's actually shrank a little bit from the last time we saw him. Cody Spiker's not too far behind Bradley Wilson either.
And, going back to the 85 of Bradley Wilson. Wow, I just said that. 85 of Zach Lindgren. Back to the 85 of Zach Lindgren, where Tim Giles out in the YouTube chat mentioned he picked him for the win earlier on in the race. I might have called you crazy after stage number 1 because while we had seen improvement from the 85, he hadn't even gotten close to the top 10 yet, and obviously it's only 20 laps to work with, only the 1 set of fresh tires, but still, You know, you'd think if he was going to go out there and have a winning chance, he would have moved through the field quicker. But I think just the amount of laps these guys are running here tonight really playing into Zach's hands, because he got those first 2 runs, those first 2 stages, to you know, test out what he could do. What I'm curious about is once we pass lap 60, and these guys have run more than 15, 20 laps on a set of tires, what that 85 will do then.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Really didn't have to work too hard on this set of tires. He came out, I believe it was 3rd. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, or if you know, off of the battle off of pit road there. So working by a couple guys. It may have been 4th or 5th. I'm maybe wrong on that, but he's definitely towards the front. So just a couple of guys to pick off there, and then really starting to now just get settled into a groove here.
I could be wrong, but I believe Zach came from about 4th, 5th, or 6th. It wasn't the first couple of rows, I don't think, but, you know, the event with Spence Thompson out of 2 really benefited him, and he went right on by, and, you know, McKee held on to 2nd place. Now he's lost it to Zach Lindgren, but ever since making that pass, Zach hasn't really pulled away. You can see his connection kind of giving him a couple of fits here, but you'd mentioned Bradley Wilson and Cody Spiker kind of getting spread out, and that's exactly what they've done. The SimSpec Toyota Camry of Bradley Wilson kind of in a pocket between the 89 and the 22. Further on back, Jared Washana settled in ahead of Craig Lerman.
Yeah, I really what I think is going on here for a lot of the guys, especially for between like Spence through Cody Spikers, they're realizing that it's not really going to be too beneficial for them to really try and push right past right now. So I think a lot of them are just getting in the groove, saving the tire a little bit. We see a lot of the guys running the middle and the high lines here. So I think this is a bit maybe of a tire management a little bit right here, since they were battling it out like that earlier.
Well, what's interesting to me, Brennan, is these guys can pretty much go from that stage break with a caution, or not a caution, a pit stop after just about 20, 25 laps. They don't really have to go that far. They don't have to stretch these tires out much further than they already had. And I thought it was actually going to be pretty taxing on these tires, but then I started to think they don't have to go more than, you know, 25 laps from, or well, 25, about 30 laps from the start of stage number 3, the final stage, to the end of the race. It's not going much further than they already had, so it might not even be that much of unmarked territory for these guys, honestly.
Yeah. And a move from Jared Washon to get past Cody Spiker. Some more interesting news. I'm showing it. His car looks clean again, so I do believe maybe that just may have been an iRacing thing for him there.
And you know, that's pretty normal actually, to see these cars kind of spaz out a little bit when one little thing goes wrong in the connection, and they show damage for a little bit, and then it corrects after a while when the connection kind of comes back to full strength. So not abnormal for iRacing to have that kind of thing go on, but it definitely does throw us for a loop on the broadcast.
Jimmy McKee now kind of in the rearview mirror of Zach Lindgren. About half a second back there at the line last time. Starting to make moves on him here, try and get that 2nd place position back. Lindgren unfortunately having a little bit of connection issues here that may be hindering him a little bit.
Well, and he's getting tight. I noticed that at turn 4 that time. I don't think he actually hit the wall, but he got really tight. Had to really jump out of the throttle, and McKee got loose on the bottom side, or he would have passed him out of 4, and now he goes by in an issue for Lindgren. He might just be letting these guys go by, actually.
Yeah, Robbie keyed over for the connection there to start letting people by there. That's the NMNTS rule with the connections. If they get so unstable at some point, the admin will key over to kind of help direct them to get back to the end of the field until the connection restabilizes itself. You know, just to give a fair chance for everybody. Obviously, you hate to see somebody have to go towards the back of the field, but it's kind of hard to race around somebody with a connection issue like that.
Yeah, and I think if Zach was on his own somewhere out throughout the field, you know, in the pocket he's in now maybe, and he didn't have a couple of cars catching up to him, they might not have sent him back quite as quickly as they did. But considering the 8 and the 89 were catching him quite quickly, that was a good call by race control.
Yeah.
Further back, a battle heating up between Cody Spiker and Craig Lerman. Cody Spiker seems to have burnt his tires off. He's now going backwards as he's lost at least a couple of spots to Sean Lerman now, and Heiza and Mason could be on the door. Or, well, I should say at the door, knocking.
Cody's not going to let it go just quite yet, though, battling through the front stretch there with Lerman. He's on the inside here. Lerman's going to get ahead of him just a little bit through the corner, and he's got the preferred line through the middle for getting the drive off. So I think, yeah, no real change there. Still right behind him, though, Cody Spiker.
We'll watch this battle from the onboard of David Hines of the Interstate Batteries Toyota Camry. I think this is a pretty good battle to watch from here because, you know, whoever comes out on the bottom side of this, the losing side of this battle between the 43 and the 22, will probably fall back to David Heiza. You see Cody Spiker with a great save out of turn 4. I think, unfortunately, it's going to be Cody Spiker, the Gale Toyota car, falling back to David Heiza, coming out on the losing side of this battle so far. Further ahead of these guys, Jared Washon is starting to reel in Zach Lindgren, so that 51 may be starting to come alive a little bit.
Yeah, we saw whatever unfortunately happened to him. It may have been the same thing. I was not paying attention to see if Robbie maybe instructed him to start going back earlier. But he's really starting to reel guys back in here, not too far off from the 85 as you mentioned.
Yeah, the 51 kind of coming alive later in this race. We've now run, I think, the longest stint on these tires that we've seen all night, so that could be playing into effect, finally showing that some of these guys might have speed that we just haven't seen yet tonight. Jared Washon, kind of the flagship driver of that example. I do want to mention, though, is we've got the most viewers, that we've had in a couple of streams, that if you want to partner up with Pit Stop TV, you are encouraged to do so even, because you know, we love partnering up with whoever we can get here at Pit Stop TV. So if you have a small business or even a large corporate business, it's always fun to get them out here on the internet, on the airwaves, and promote them. So you can partner up with us to get your logos on the broadcasts and even on social media. It's a great deal. You can message us on Facebook for more information on that. Cody Spiker, though, is still falling back. He's now falling all the way back to 15th, and he's in the pits.
It's for him now. I think he just had enough of the tires. Maybe short stopping a little bit compared to the other guys. Just try and give him a fair chance here for the second part of it. Missed the box. Yeah.
But what this will do, I think, is draw more cars in. Kenny Yant's coming down the pit lane.
Yeah, Kenny Yant says a ping of over 2,000 right now. Robbie was keen over that, so Kenny with some connection issues right now.
And I think that's it. Cody Spiker back on the racing surface, or at least back out of pit lane, trying to get up to speed. Now he's got to stay on the apron through turn 2 before he can re-merge with the field. Shouldn't be a problem for him on these new tires. And we'll watch for more pit stops. I think this really opens up the window for pit stops to begin.
Yeah, and you kind of expect them from just about here, maybe about 10 or so more laps, just to kind of split it just about in half as they usually like to do. But you know, if you're struggling right now, maybe a good opportunity to come in. That way you're not going any further backwards, and you have a little bit of fresher tires to start working against the guys here that are still staying out. You can run better lap times than them, gaining some time. They get past them through the pit stop.
And I think that's exactly what Cody Spiker noticed, that he was moving backwards, and now he can short pit, get these tires on now, try and run past some of these guys, maybe catch a caution after about 10-15 laps on these tires, and pass a lot of them before that caution even comes out. So a great move from the driver of the 22. We'll have to see if anyone else does the same. Now, I want to mention real quick, as Brandon Parsons follows Cody Spiker, sorry, not Cody Spiker, Clayton Kurtz, wow, that was weird, follows Clayton Kurtz and Kenneth Yantz around the Speedway. Brandon Parsons is brand new to this series and relatively new to iRacing even. I noticed when we brought him in last week to Phoenix, he's only got a rookie license on iRacing on the oval side of things, so, you know, kind of interesting to see somebody so new. doing so well. He's doing pretty good. You saw him tag the wall down the straightaway there. Sometimes these cars get a little unwieldy down the straightaways when you have big bumps at places like Auto Club. And I think Terry Mason and some others coming into the pit lane.
Yeah,
All of WFO.
Bradley Wilson, yep.
Terry locked up the brakes, but here come a bunch of cars. Zach Lindgren, Bradley Wilson, Spence Thompson, Jared Rashawn even. A ton of cars just pitted.
Yep, that's definitely probably a team move there to see a lot of affiliated drivers coming down at the same time. Obviously, they're all going to be in communication throughout the whole race there, so probably going to try and work with each other. Going through the end here, help each other out, gain some positions.
And that's going to drag Jimmy McKee to the pit lane. The Duracell Menards Ford Fusion making his way to the pit lane. Craig Lerman going to follow. David Heise going to follow. Anthony Colantuano, Kenneth Yance, and Brandon Parsons going to continue around the speedway, though, as the WFO cars get back up to speed. And, of course, these guys are all going to come in for 4 tires and a fresh tank of Sunoco Racing fuel. Or a full tank, I should say. Fresh fuel, that's an interesting one.
17 in this time.
Our leader for all of the race so far has led 71 of 71 laps. Anthony Colantuano finally going to come down the pit lane. The A&W Ford pitting from the lead. We'll see what Ken Yance does, because he can lead a lap here if he stays at one more lap, and that's exactly what Ken Yance will do.
I was taking an opportunity for a point when you can get one.
Brandon Parsons also down the pit lane while these guys continue around the speedway. I think Jerry Glenn might try and do the same thing as Ken Yance, get a lap led here. He's still on the track. Gordon Larson Jr. could have the same idea, maybe even John Barron.
"17 is off."
Ken Yance stays on the racetrack. He's going to keep leading laps. He might not have been certain about getting that previous lap led, so he's going to come around one more time, lead that lap, and I would expect him to come in this time around, coming to lap 75 of 100. But for the back, you mentioned it, the 17 exited the pit lane, and Cody Spiker, we talked about the move that he made, getting some of these spots in the short run. If a caution comes out once these guys cycle through, he should be first, second, maybe even third place. Currently is the first of the cars that have pitted and got for Mr. Feelgoods.
Cody Spiker's going to work to get his lap back here, I do believe. He did end up going a lap down.
That was Kenny Yance he got by, not Kenneth.
Excuse me, yep.
Yeah, those two kind of present that kind of issue, actually.
Yeah.
Normally, they're around each other, and so to have two Ken something Yances out on the track kind of presents that issue, and I can't imagine the issue that they might have had just running through the standings back in the early 2000s with the two Dale Earnhardts. But I think Kenneth Yance should probably come in the next couple of laps. Surprisingly, he hasn't just yet. That means Spence Thompson going to continue around in 6th position, trying to chase down Cody Spiker. He's basically there, just can't get to him, at least not close enough to make a move just yet.
Low for Cody Spiker through the corner there. Spence going to gain a lot of ground there.
And a caution comes out. I was going to say that could be the battle for the win, but it's not now because he just had a caution. Was it Bradley Wilson?
Yeah, the 18 with a lot of rear end damage.
Oh, man. Bradley Wilson out of turn number 2 had some kind of issue. We'll get a replay on the screen.
Oh, the leader, or the 17, Colantuano, is going to be involved in as well.
So we'll finally get the replay on everybody's screen here, and Brennan said it was the 18 and the 17, so we'll watch these two out of turn number 2, and Brad just got down onto the apron, got loose, came up, trying to save the car, and Colantuano just was not expecting it, pounded him in the rear end, sent him around, and thankfully, he didn't hit anything else, but that's heartbreak for Colantuano.
Definitely. Kenneth Yance put him in a great spot here, some other pit stops to be taken, I'm sure. Kenneth Yance is going to be the leader, though, as we come towards pit lane.
and he did get a couple of laps led last week at ISM Raceway in Phoenix. Unfortunately, though, he did end up with some rear-end contact from a driver who will leave just unnamed for now. Did go around, unfortunately, pretty much ended his night. But tonight, I think he has a better chance of hanging on to this lead if he does, in fact, exit the pit lane with the P1 spot. I think we'll finally get the pits open this time because, yeah, I don't see any damage fixed on the 72, so I think we'll see him come down the pit lane, and he will. So Kenneth Yacht's going to lead the field down the pit road, and I think everybody is going to come with him. I shouldn't expect anybody to stay out here.
Yeah. Anybody that's still... A couple guys needed to get their lap back just because of where they were on the tracks, so they'll go ahead and get that taken care of now. But
I think most of them will probably come in just for the tires to make sure they don't wreck or anything like that. We'll see. I mean, it's certainly an option because you could... I mean, cautions breed cautions. Larry Mack says it all the time. And so you're probably right. I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of those guys who was a lap down ends up staying out to get the lap back. But I know if I was in their position, I'd probably just come in and get the tires. It's not totally worth it to be running out there on 50-lap old tires or whatever it would be at this point. Kenny Yachts, though, going to exit the pit lane first. What's your take on what I had there for you?
we still talking about the tires?
Yeah, sorry, we were
okay,
talking about...
sorry, we were
No,
on...
you're fine, you're fine. I should have said something.
Yeah, I think we should expect them to see him this time. They were just getting the lap back here. I do. Obviously, it's their opportunity this time here. Not off first lap. They wait till the second lap before they can pit. So I do believe we should see them all in this time. And no. Oh, the 77 of Kenny Yacht's still out.
And
the
none
Kenny
of them
Yacht's,
come in?
yeah, these guys all did pit, so it's just they pitted a little bit earlier than everyone else.
That's a good point. That's a good point, actually.
About
They all
15
did
lap
come in.
hours or so.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hadn't thought about that, but we're going to go ahead and talk with a driver who we like to talk with. Unfortunately, don't get all the chances in the world to do so. Zach Lindgren, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you guys.
Well, bud, you started almost shotgun on the field, and you worked your way up to 6th by the end of Stage 2. You were second there for a little bit. What happened?
We just had a few connection issues, and I went high, and instead of really focusing on how much brake I was putting into it, I was pretty much full brake, and we were locking up tires going towards the wall, so I was more focused on letting the guys get around me because of my technical difficulties more than anything, but we were able to bounce back there for a little bit. We were able to keep up with Bradley, even though he saved a little bit more tire than we did, so I'm happy about that, but that's pretty much what happened, going from second to 6th like that.
Yeah, we saw you fall back, noticed that you were blinking, and I think Brennan even keyed up with saying that you were being asked to go to the back. Did the car start to change? Because you started to fall back even before I think you were asked because of the connection issue. So was the car undergoing a change there? You guys did just run the longest run of the race so far. What were you noticing?
This car's extremely tight until you get about halfway through the corner. That's when it really frees up. This thing's actually really tight around the whole speedway. Just as soon as it does kind of lessen the grip, more than anything, you've got so much wheel input into it that you get really loose. So really, we were getting tight on entry, loose on exit, and I was trying to use the looseness to my advantage, trying to speed out of it. And sometimes it'd work, sometimes it wouldn't. But that's pretty much how it's transitioned so far. It's really tight getting in, really loose getting off, and you've really got to play with the throttle and how you have your wheel angled coming out of the corner.
10-4 on that, man. Well, you are, restarting in the 8th position here on this restart, I think. Do you think you have the car to get it done?
I do. I feel like me, Spence, Anthony C up here, I don't even want to attempt his last name, and Jimmy, up here. I feel like we've got the four fastest cars, and I feel like if we can clear out some of these guys and get through it, I feel like we'll have a really good race to the end here.
Well, Brennan, do you have anything for the driver of the 85?
Nothing much to add here. Hopefully we can see you. Maybe walk away with a victory here. If not, definitely somewhere up in the top 5. But good luck to you tonight with the rest of the little bit of racing we got left.
Thank you, buddy. Hopefully we'll get it done for everyone watching.
Sounds good. Moving back down. Best of luck.
Thank you, guys.
And that was Zach Lindgren. Get to hear his voice every Sunday night helping us call the Super Series races. Figured he'd be a good one to talk to after those connection issues. Kind of get some insight on that number 85 machine. Would have talked to Bradley Wilson, but we'll give him his fair chance to cool down in case he is a little upset over that caution. Ken Yance, your leader, going to pull away right away as soon as he has the option to. Jerry Glenn doesn't get a great start, but Cody Spiker almost right with the 72, at least in terms of launching.
Vince Thompson going to make a move on the inside of the 98 here. Almost some contact there. Really close. A little bump from the 89 to the 22. 22, Cody Spiker loose.
Oh, Spence is losing it. Spence is losing it. Oh. Can't find him. I'm trying to get a hold on the 89.
Back up on the racetrack. He's doing fine. Yep. Saved it.
He gave my heart a bit of a tease there. I thought he was done. We'll get a replay on that save. My gosh.
Big move for the lead right now, though.
I think, yeah, we'll do that, actually. That's probably a better call. Cody Spiker trying to get to the lead. This almost is deja vu. He's going to get there. Almost deja vu of Phoenix International Raceway last week. Oh, Colantuono almost got to the 72 and almost sent him for a spin. I think Anthony's just trying to fight his way back to the lead, but he's got a lot of front-end damage. I'm not sure how it's going to work out for him.
So far, so good. He's sticking with Ken. Not quite anything for Cody there. See towards the end of the straightaway though, definitely some aero damage or aero deficiency there because Ken was starting to pull away again.
Cody Spiker,
Ken
gets the wall. Yep. Jerry Glenn loose on the bottom side. He's going to spin in front of the field.
Double little Gordon Larson definitely made contact. First bit I saw there.
Yeah, Larson's in it hard. He's going to be done for the night. Glenn probably reasonably done as far as contending for a decent finish at this point. Huge hits there. Quickly want to say welcome to Klaus Peterson to Pitstop TV. He's saying hello from Denmark. Always cool to get international fans, but man, what a wreck out of turn 4.
Looks like the 98 may have got a little assistance there on that one. He started to lose it himself. Yeah,
he gets loose out of 4 and then gets hit. And just slams the wall, and there's nowhere for Gordon to go after that. Yeah. Somehow no one else got in it. Spence was in a bad spot. He could have easily been collected in that one. He got through there. Wow.
Oh, tough break for Gordon Larson and Jerry Glenn. Overall, though, everyone else in the field will be able to make it through. So far, so good on that. We're going to have another really good kind of shootout almost here compared to how the rest of the stages kind of went. Just gonna be, I believe, just about 14 laps to go, I think I'll call it, from the restart.
Yeah, that sounds about right, Brennan. We were just watching the onboard of Gordon Larson Jr. Getting collected in that one, unfortunately. Again, he's done for the night. The engine let go after that. Big contact for him. And that'll be the night for Gordon Larson Jr. But yeah, you're right. We're only going to have about 14, maybe 13 laps to go when we restart here from Auto Club Speedway. I think a lot of the leaders actually might stay out this time around. We'll see what they do. No. They're all going to come in.
Ken stays out. Yeah, Ken's the first one to stay out.
John Barron, Spence thought about it. He was going to stay out, but John Barron will stay out. I think he might still be a lap down. Yeah, John is still, I believe, a lap behind.
No, he was. Yeah, he was on the lead lap. Yep.
So awesome deal for John Barron there. Trevor Harmon gets the lucky dog. That's why he didn't pit. A couple of underfunded motorsports cars going to be on the front row for this restart, Brennan. This could be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, we saw Ken was definitely had a little bit of contention. I think he didn't quite have the speed for Cody there. But definitely they're not going to fall like rocks, I don't think, here. really gonna have to watch out for him.
That's for darn sure. I think these two could be guys to watch as we restart. They're still going to have pretty good tires on those Toyota Camrys, but I want to quickly go ahead and fulfill the promise we made to get Bradley Wilson in here at some point, so we'll get him in now. Brennan, can you grab him when you're ready?
Alrighty, we'll do.
Out of this yet here.
Hey there, Brad. Brennan up here in PSA booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, so things not quite going to plan, I'd have to say there for you there. Most recent caution, or not most recent caution, but the one before, a little bit of an incident with you.
Yeah, we you know, we made a great pit stop there. Great call to pit. I felt like we were really in the catbird seat, so to speak. And you know, it's just an error on my part. I'd been running the line close to that, but these cars are really they'll really suck around if you put the lefts down on the apron, and I got the left front down on that white line just a little bit, and around she went. So damaged but not out, man. This Oil Can Hancock SimSpec PC discount shop towels Toyota still got some fight left in it. We're just gonna see what we can get here.
Yeah, that's the next thing I wanted to bring up. We definitely had a bit of an opportunity here to feel the car out. Overall, how's it feeling for you?
You know, it didn't really handle very much different. I know the speed's the same. We took most of the damage in the trunk there, so the speed overall, you know, the motor's fine, and if anything, with that spoiler coming up, it's got a little more grip out of the rear, so all in all, it's probably not what it was, but we had a great long run piece. But you know, still not out of it. We're gonna see what we can pick up here, maybe salvage a top 5 out of this day.
It definitely got you scored at the top 10, so hopefully we can keep you in there, and even maybe a top 5 out of you. That'd be great to see. You hit on the sponsors a little bit. Want to run through them again here?
Yeah, I want to thank Oil Can Hancock for all the support they've done coming back this year. New to the car is SimSpec PC Towers. Check them out, and then also got discount shop towels. Go out there, and they've got some great products. Shop with our promo code at Thunder18 for 5% off your purchase.
Alrighty, buddy. We'll go ahead and get you moved back down. Good luck here on this last little sprint we have left.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
And that was Bradley Wilson, the driver of the number 18 car tonight. Yeah, I mean, like he said, just trying to salvage what he can out of it. Probably has a car at least for a top 10, if not a top 5, like he mentioned. We'll see what he can do on this restart. I will mention Ken Yance, John Varen, still your lead pair. So it'll be fun to watch this restart, see how they do. I think they've both got decent cars underneath them, decent tires on the cars as well. But you never really know, because it's always an unknown until you see what happens when you stay out on these old tires, no matter who it would be. I don't care if you're Tyler Justice staying out on these old tires. It's kind of an unknown because we haven't seen it done yet.
Yeah, and they definitely have a couple of quick drivers right behind them there. Cody Spiker going to start right behind Ken. John Barron's going to have Colanto Ono behind him with some damage, though didn't seem to affect him too bad there. So we'll see how long they can hold off here, and hopefully they can hold off for quite a while. So yeah, we're going to have 13 to go at the line.
Another notable end of the top 5 going to be David Heisa in the 7-11. Terry Mason even into the 7th position. Big day right now for him if he can hang on to that spot. And I look through the rest of the field. Clayton Kurtz pretty close to the top 10. Jimmy McKee, though, has fallen all the way back to 14th. He got some damage on that previous incident right there, so that is probably what's affecting his night. We'll see what he can do from here on. But 13 laps to go. Kenneth Yance is your leader. Brennan, they're coming to you for the green flag.
Alrighty. Waiting on the pace car to dive in. It does that now right away again for Ken Yance. John Barron slacking right behind. Not a good start for John Barron there. Kind of left Colanto Ono and Lindgren without really too far to go. Colanto Ono's going to try the outside. He's going to get squeezed way up there. The 85 diving down, the 69 falling back now. Not a good restart for John Barron. Ken Yance, on the other hand, though, still out ahead. Cody Spiker is the only one really challenging him right behind. Cody's going to try and make the move this time, going down into turn 3. And He'll have him cleared. Cody Spiker to the lead. Ken Janssen second now.
Hate to play a devil's advocate on this, Brennan, but you have to wonder what race control will say regarding the restart there for some of these guys. Cody Spiker takes the lead, like I think you mentioned. Zach Lindgren through to third, but the 85 and the 17 did go to the outside. I think they'll let it go, just because, you know, the 69 didn't really keep going, and so they have to keep their race alive too. But we have to wait for the official call from race control on that restart. Currently, though, like we mentioned, Cody Spiker first, Ken Jantz hanging on to second place, and Zach Lindgren in third.
Yeah, I think they'll be safe. They never actually really made a move ahead of to pass them until they got quite to the line, so I don't think it'll be much of an issue. They did move up a little bit just to, you know, avoid some contact there, I think, but nothing really heard from Robbie, so I think everybody's fine.
And, you know, silence from the race control can go either way. That might mean they're still reviewing something. It might mean you're all good. It's kind of one of those nerve-wracking silences if you know that something might be getting called against you, because, or really anyone in the field could be subject to it. It depends on the way race control calls it, because this is a human regulated sport. We see that all the time on Sunday afternoons, even Friday and Saturday nights in the Truck and Xfinity Series, but humans regulate this. Obviously, iRacing helps a lot in this situation where we're on a simulator, but it doesn't mean everything's going to go 100% by iRacing. A human still has to step in, for much of it. Kenneth Yachts, though, falling now out of the top 5, slow on the top side. Those tires starting to fall away.
Yeah, he had a couple laps there, and now everybody's kind of up to speed now. It's starting to work their way past him. Battling with Colantuono again now. Starts to work his way around the outside, or the inside of him. Ken's going to follow in right behind him.
Quickly want to mention as we watch the 72 of Ken Jantz speed down the front straightaway, Timothy McCauley asking out in the chat how he can join one of these races. If you have iRacing.com, if you are a member and you have the NASCAR Cup cars along with at least most of these tracks, you can contact the NMNTS Racing Series on Facebook to get more information. The Tuesday night BA Graphix Cup Series, like we're watching here, and I'll even switch to the 18, is still accepting drivers into the series, as well as the Sunday night Super Series with the Super Late model. So if you want to join either one of those, they race at the same time of the night, just different days, you can still do so. If you want to join the Monday Night Truck Series, you have to go through the Thursday Night Feeder Series, which isn't broadcast, is just there for practice for drivers and finding new drivers. And you can get more information at the NMNTS Racing Series Facebook page. And yeah, that's about it. You see Bradley Wilson making the move on Ken Jantz. That 18 still not down for the count.
That move there is going to put him into 7th, so just 2 spots away from a top 5 for him. Up ahead of him, he's got Colantuono and Craig Lerman, both quick drivers, though he is gaining ground, it looks like here.
Yeah, I'd imagine the 17 will probably fall away in these next couple of laps to where he can't really contend much with some of these guys that come by him, because you know, that damage in the front going to cause his front tires to slide a bit more, and is really going to wear them away, I think. But up in the front, Terry Mason in 3rd place. A great run for Terry.
Definitely Terry up to 3rd. Not quite there for the battle between Cody Spiker and Zach Lindgren. Jared Washon going to be right behind him, though. They're going to get ready to battle it out here.
And Brennan, I'm looking through the field. No one in the top 10 has a single win so far in this series this season. The only winner that we even see in the top 10 is Zach Lindgren, at least in the NMNTS so far this season. And he won back at Atlanta in the Truck Series. But this is a totally different beast, totally different cars and track. Jared Washon, though, starting to go to work on Terry Mason. That would be for 3rd. But the leader, Cody Spiker, has about a 3/10 gap back to the 85.
Time by, we'll have 5 to go here, so we're definitely rounding out the last little bit. So if you have any moves, you got to do it now.
yeah, from here on, if we get a caution on the Speedway, it's going to end the race. A lot of broadcasters kind of call it the cutoff for cautions on iRacing, and it's a worthy thing to talk about because if we get, again, if we get any cautions from this point on, it will revert back to kind of the caution rule in the early 2000s in NASCAR, where it would just end the race. They run out of laps, no overtime, and that's what we see on iRacing. It's still the same way. So, Cody Spiker, I guarantee you right now, wants a caution.
Yeah, though, to the contrary, though, he's definitely keeping his distance away from Lindgren there. Lindgren not really able to really work forward any. 3/10 there at the line last time, and this time through, it's almost half a second. He had a little bobble coming off, so Cody's definitely far enough out ahead, but obviously a caution now to just end it all would be great for him as well.
And a battle that I think is starting to heat up is for second, third, and fourth. Terry Mason hanging on to third so far, but he's got to hang on to it for 3.5 more laps against one of the hottest drivers in the series. Jared Wishon is coming, and he is doing everything he can to get by the Pringles, number 75. So far, nothing has worked, but here he comes to the top side. Doesn't really get a run.
Yeah, top 3 for Terry tonight would be really great to see. Unfortunately, he's got caught up in a lot of incidents through the beginning of the season, so a really great run from him tonight, and hopefully he can hold on to it.
And on top of Terry having a great run, what about Craig Lerman currently in the 5th position? A great breakout drive for him. The number 43 looking really good. And just a few weeks ago, we were talking about him being one of the slower cars going a lap down to Tyler Justice when contact was made. Sent Tyler to the back of the field, as well as the 43. And John Barron, you can see letting these guys go by. He is lapped now. But really, what a great turnaround so far for Craig Lerman. Oh, Zach in the wall. He's going to go down to the bottom side, lose at least 3rd place. He's going to have to try and battle back. He has 4 miles to try and hang on to one of these top 3 positions, but Jared Wishon moves into 3rd. You have to wonder what the 75 and the 51 will do from here, trying to hang on to those 2 spots if Zach can get back to him.
Zach is muscling him down, already caught right back up to the rear end of Wishon. That's going to give Terry a little bit of a break here. If Zach starts to make a move, although Zach really doesn't have very much time, so he's got to go now.
Yeah, we're coming to the point where these guys are going to take the white flag. Cody Spiker still in the lead. We'll see what these guys can do. Jared Wishon almost got squeezed into the fence there. He didn't quite have his nose there, though. I thought they were going to be really close. But Zach Lindgren has to make the move into 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. This time around, he has just under 2 miles to make it happen. He's going to go to the bottom side, try and get a run on the 51. Nothing in 1 and 2. That might kill his run to 3 and 4. We'll have to see what he can do. Cody Spiker, though, your leader out of turn 2. Half a lap to go. Just under a mile now for Cody Spiker to come home to win this thing. Cody through 3 and 4, looking stable further back. I think you're about to mention Wishon going to hang on to 3rd, looking for 2nd.
Around the outside.
Oh, Zach at the wall.
43.
Lerman around.
43 ended up going down pit lane. He did make a lot of contact.
Cody Spiker wins the race. Don't want to miss that. I think that's a bit more important than a car in the pit lane. I hate to say that about Craig Lerman. Apologies there, but Cody Spiker going to win the race. Terry Mason in 2nd place. Jared Wishon in 3rd. We'll check now on the 42 or 43. Well, 43 car of Craig Lerman. I don't know where he's going to finish, but it's not going to be 3rd or 4th. So what a finish for the 85 and the 43. Not what you want to see happen. You know, Zach just pushing, got the wall, and then, wow. Craig Lerman just gets tossed around like a rag doll. I'm not even sure where he's going to finish, unfortunately. But Cody Spiker will be your winner tonight from the Auto Club Speedway and the Auto Club 200. You can see him burning it down here. Obviously very excited. And he's going to head down to the victory lane here at Auto Club. almost doing a burnout in the victory lane. What a win for Cody Spiker. I mean, he wasn't even in the field for Daytona. We got him in the field for Atlanta. And just what a turnaround. You know, he had a couple of rough races, but has shown speed ever since joining this series. And wow, what a run. If I can track down Jared, there he is. I was looking for Jared Rashawn. We'll get to talk to the driver of the 51 first. Jared Rashawn, this is Andrew Cardinale in the Pit Stop TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Gotcha.
Well, Jared, after kind of an up and down last run for you there, you ended up on the podium, your third place. How'd the back half of that race go?
Yeah, wasn't too bad. Figured something out there at the end and was able to pick off some spots, and the cautions fell right, and just got lucky with the restarts and was able to hold the track position.
Yeah, and you know, you say you got lucky with the restarts. I think it was a lot of really good driving on your part. You kept that car out of the fence, kept it from getting loose. You hung on to it. You're going to come home third place. What does this mean for the rest of your season?
It's a good start to the season, and hopefully we can just continue this. I wasn't really expecting it, so hopefully this is how we'll run for the rest of the season in the 51.
Yeah, it certainly would be a good precedent to continue if you can get more podium finishes throughout the rest of the season. But, you know, I think anything north of a top 10 would at least be really, really good in terms of keeping yourself in a position for the points race as we move on through the season. But, you know, Martinsville next week is going to be, well, it's going to be Martinsville. I don't think there's any other way you can really describe it. What's your outlook moving forward to the paperclip?
It's a fun track to drive, but just not sure how we'll do there. It'll be my first time there in an official race or for the league, and we'll just see how that goes, I guess.
Sounds good, Jared. Well, I'll turn you over to Brennan before letting you shout out any sponsors. Brennan, what do you have for him?
Just overall congrats on the top 3 tonight. I know you weren't really feeling like you maybe had a shot at it. Overall, though, I think it was a great run from you tonight as a whole, so hopefully we can see some more from you coming the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Well, Jared, with that, you know, obviously there's a few groups on that number 51. Do you want to give them one last shout out for the night?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Plan B Sales again, and at Diecast fans, NMNTS, Bradley for the opportunity to drive the 51, and you guys for what you do.
Sounds good, Jared. We'll hopefully get to talk to you more next week from Martinsville. We'll see how that place goes. It's always rather tumultuous, so we'll see how it goes for everyone. But a great run tonight. Hopefully we get to talk to you in the future.
Thank you, guys.
And that was the driver of the 51, going to come home in third place. And Brennan, Terry Mason is waiting for your call up to the booth.
Alrighty, Terry Mason, second place tonight, bud. That's a really good turn of events for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Like it's been a while since I've talked to you guys.
Yeah, I mentioned it really the beginning of the season, really overall, not really going to plan, I'd have to say, for you. So, second place tonight for a really good run overall tonight. Sure we're pretty ecstatic about that.
Oh, definitely. Team's thrilled.
Yeah. So, overall, really, how'd the car really perform for you tonight? Really didn't see too much towards the front, until really the latter half of it. Good pit stop, taken there, and you come home second overall. How'd you feel though?
It felt great. I mean, I really enjoyed the way the car was driving. Track was perfect. Kind of had a little throttle management, and getting into the race was basically, trying to get to feel the track, feel the other drivers, and just see what the car will do after the first 20 lap segments. After that, we kind of discussed what we were going to do, get strategy on our long run, and everything just worked out.
Yep. Well, next week we're going to Martinsville. How do you feel about that?
Scared.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I'll give you that. Um, short track, a lot of tempers to flare there, I think, and a lot of bumpers to be used. Overall, there, how do you think you're gonna run though?
I don't know. I usually run short tracks pretty well, but I haven't really ran the Cup cars that often. So we're definitely going to head down and get some practice over the week and just try to get a feel for the Cup car at Martinsville. And we'll go there. We'll put some braces in that front bumper, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, congratulate you again here on second. Andrew, you have anything you'd like to add?
Terry, you're finally back on the podium, bud. You finally got through. And I actually talked about you at the start of the race, saying you and a couple of other guys starting around you were, ones that might be further back at the start, but once you got the track figured out, once you got a handle on things, you'd be ones to watch out for. And what do you know? You're in second place, making good on my word. So great run from you. Yeah, hopefully we get to talk to you more.
I hope so. I've missed talking to you guys.
We've missed you too. You're always a fun one to talk to.
I appreciate it, guys.
So yeah, we'll have to talk to you more into caution, I think. Get you up here more.
Hey, I'll it keeps me entertained while we're, if we have a caution lap. So I'll try to keep you guys entertained as well.
Sounds good. The only thing is normally you seem to be finding your way into things this season. So hopefully that can change next week in Martinsville. It's going to be tough for you. Like you said, you're scared. But yeah, a lot of stuff has happened to you this season. A lot of wrecked cars for the Field of Broken Dreams over at BBR, one of your affiliates. So anyways,
yeah.
hopefully your luck turns around, because it hasn't been your doing. It's just been bad luck. But
especially, I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just talking about at Phoenix. I think to quote Chip Ganassi, I think I hit everything but the hot dog guy.
Well, there you go. Yeah, kind of like Robbie Buckner at New Smyrna, maybe. Hopefully,
yeah, exactly.
Not listening too closely.
I wasn't going to say that,
but yeah, great run from you tonight. Best of luck next week. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, definitely. I got to give a shout out to Riot Motorsports with Joseph and Trevor, my teammates. They had some bad luck early in the race, so glad we can kind of get a podium finish and make it up to those guys. And definitely got to thank all the crew over at WFO with Bradley, Spence, Zach, and Clayton, guys to work with.
Sounds great, man. We'll talk to you later on. Hopefully, anyways, next week at Martinsville. It's going to be tough, but I have faith in you. You're one of those guys that can hang on to a car and not get it completely tore up from the floor up by lap 100 at places like that. So we'll see how you do. Hopefully we're talking to you more next week.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And that was Terry Mason, your second place finisher. Next up, our race winner, Cody Spiker. I think this will be a pretty fun interview to have up here, Brennan. Cody Spiker, do you have a copy?
I got you.
Cody, it's been a long time coming, finally getting you back up here in the Pit Stop TV interview booth. But, man, you're the winner from Auto Club. How's it feel?
Oh, this is awesome. I've been trying to get up in the top 3 here in the series so I can get an interview with you guys, and just happened to win the race.
Yeah, finally, your first podium of the season, and it comes to Auto Club. It comes in the form of a win. Did you expect it to come here?
Not at all. I've been really busy, so I didn't even have a chance to practice here at all. So this is the first time I've ever even driven a Cup car here. So,
well, I'll tell you what, you made it look easy. You went out there with some class and just drove the wheels off of that thing. First off, Brennan, do you have anything for the guy?
I just have to say congrats, bud. Really, you had yourself in a really good spot during most of the race to come home with the win. Really seemed like you had a handle on it. So you got tight maybe a couple times there, but overall, really ran a really good race. And I think the incident with the 17 to keep him from coming back up there really just kind of sealed the deal for you. So congrats again, though, bud.
Yeah, I appreciate it on that last restart there. If I got ahead of those guys, and I hope that the guys that stayed out on tires there would hold them off a little bit, and that's exactly what happened. So.
Well, you did a great job of it in that number 22. You're only running this season, I think, right now, full time. I believe you don't really have the chance to get into the Monday Night Series, but you have run at least one race so far. But next week is a totally different monster for these cars. We're going to Martinsville Speedway, and you know, like Brennan said a couple of times throughout the race, pretty much a polar opposite to Auto Club, about as far away both in location and just differences as you can get. What's your outlook going forward to Virginia?
I am pumped. I love short track racing, so Martinsville is exactly what I like to race on, so I'm really excited for Martinsville.
Well, sounds good. It's always good to have some confidence when you go to a place like that. Terry Mason, before you said he was just flat out scared, so it's good to have the confidence there in that number 22. Does this now kind of, I ask all kinds of people the same question, but does this kind of set the bar for you to meet the rest of the season?
Yeah, I didn't really have too high of expectations when I came in here, but then after Daytona and Atlanta, I started to get comfortable with these guys, and now I really expect to finish hopefully top 5 or 10 every week. So,
well, sounds good, man. Hopefully we can see you fulfill those goals in the number 22. Who do you got to thank for that ride?
Yeah, I got to thank you, Andrew, for giving me the ride. I'm really appreciative of it, and I got to thank my number 1 fan out there, Blake O'Connell, giving me some moral support.
Yeah, I noticed he came into the stream and was quite vocal about supporting you and hoping you got that win. Let's see if I can find the exact comment. All caps, let's go Cody. Yeah, I think he was definitely pulling for the number 22 tonight. But great run for you in the Gale Toyota machine. Hopefully we can see you repeat on this sometime throughout the year. Michigan isn't too far from Auto Club in terms of differences, so maybe you can pull it off there. But we'll let you go now. Best of luck next week at Martinsville. It's going to be a tough one.
All right, thank you, Andrew.
And that was your race winner, Brennan. It was Cody Spiker. Just what a run! I don't know how else to put it. Just what a run for the guy.
Yeah, definitely a really good run from him tonight. Back to what I said, he really had himself in a really great spot through the majority of that race, and the cookie kind of crumbled his way tonight, and he came home with the win.
Yeah, and of course, I don't want to act like he was the best one out there. I think for the first 60 laps, no argument, it was the 17 of Anthony Colantuono, and unfortunately, just, the bit of contact with Bradley Wilson kind of sabotaged his race. Was really nothing, it was definitely nothing malicious. Brad just got loose, and sometimes that happens at a place like Auto Club Speedway. It happens all the time. So, really sucks to see that happen to Anthony, but, he still did a good job of clawing back to a decent finish. I think he finished 7th, so not bad. Well, Brennan, first off, got to thank you for joining me in the booth, as always. We have our differences in opinions sometimes, but honestly could not make this happen as well as it happens without you alongside of me. With that said, we'll move on to the results. Cody Spiker going to be your winner from Auto Club Speedway in the Auto Club 200. Terry Mason, as we mentioned, coming home in 2nd place. Jared Rashawn in 3rd. Zach Lindgren, despite what happened at turn 4, going to hang on to 4th place. Spence Thompson comes home in 5th, right behind his teammate. Bradley Wilson behind his 2 teammates will come home in 6th. Anthony Colantuono, again, claws back for a 7th place finish. Pretty decent given the circumstances. Jimmy McKee holds on to 8th. David Hayes in 9th. And Christopher Matthews in 10th.
And picking up for 11th, Clayton Kurtz able to scrape his way back up to 11th after an incident early on. 12th going to go to Kenneth Yantz tonight. Kind of just fell back off that restart there, able to hold on just outside the top 10 though. Jerry Glynn's going to pick up 13th tonight. 14th going to Gordon Larson Jr. 15th going to be Craig Lerman, as we saw. He had that incident right there coming to the checker flag. He ends up getting the score of the last one on the lead lap there. 16th going to Brandon Parsons, lap down. 17th is going to be John Barron. He also went a lap down. 18th tonight, Trevor Harmon, 6 laps down, unfortunately for him. Kenny Yantz, 21 laps down tonight. 20th going to Joseph Andahar. He ended up 53 laps down. And 21st tonight went to Derek Robinson, 65 laps down for him. And 22nd to Matthew McMeekin, 71 laps down.
And that will conclude your 22 car field here from Auto Club Speedway. Really was a really entertaining race, I thought. What are your final thoughts on this place, Brendan?
Overall, as a whole, really, really great race. Just a couple of cautions. I think they all came right for the stage break, even though we had a couple incidents there. But overall, really couldn't ask for really too much more out of this. It was a really great race. Went by fairly quick and a lot of action. So definitely what a lot of guys like to see.
Yeah, you mentioned the caution count. We only had 4 for 15 laps, so a great start to the season, I think, in this series. Hopefully that carries on to Martinsville next week, but that's always, or I should say that's never a guarantee at a place like that. Tempers usually flare, and again, like I told Jared Rashawn, you can only really describe it as Martinsville Speedway. I don't think there's much of any other way to describe that place. But when we go to the paperclip next week, you can catch the races all 3 nights, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, here on Pit Stop TV. Brennan, once more, got to thank you for joining me in the booth. It's been a lot of fun. Got to thank Sam Collins out there for making sure the chat is moderated. Really does a lot of work for us, kind of takes our mind off of the chat a little bit, and it really helps. We'll check the YouTube chat one more time. Yeah, everybody saying a great race. It really was a great race. Only 4 cautions throughout the night, so I thought it was a really, really good event here from Auto Club Speedway. Hopefully you join us back here at Pit Stop TV for more and more racing this Friday night. Make sure to tune in for the Dirt Racing Challenge Series season opener from Lanier National Speedway. And this has been Pit Stop TV. Andrew Cardinale IV, Brennan Elsoff in the booth, Sam Collins moderating the chat. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure to catch us next time.